I like that groove. That groove is nice. It's one of my it's one of my old beats. What's up with you guys? This is your boy Yaahn Hunter Jr. coming at you live in action. And I know it's been a minute since I've done the last video. Excuse me, the last video on Let's Talk, production. It's been a little minute, so I wanted to give some time for people to come on in here, and I wanted to follow up. The last place I left off was I wanted to talk about, you know, working with artists, working with other producers, and just communication skills and how to convey what you're looking for. So for my people who's coming on in here, let's just do a quick little recap. My man Justin, yo, let's get some people in the building. So just to recap, as we're waiting for people to come in, last time we talked about format. We talked about owning the genre that you're trying to produce in and being able to produce strictly in one particular genre to capture that sound. And then from there, we went on to how to, teeter-totter those lines a little bit and, excuse me, just basically cross those lines at will, but still sounding commercial at the end of the day. And then we gospelified it. We made the joint a little churchy, so we made like a little track live. We did like a pop joint, and it was really fun. We talked about how to get a pop sound and everything. We talked about a lot of stuff, and so it was a really good session, a very excellent session. There was some good feedback, good questions, and everything like that. And most importantly, it was just a time for us to come together just as a community, and it was really fire. So we talked about that. We've been working in Logic primarily, just because it seems to be like a very palatable DAW for most people. But everything that I'm doing in Logic can be done typically in other DAWs, so you don't have to worry about that. Since we got about 7 people in here, let's just go ahead and let's dig on in. First off, for people who don't know me really quickly, I've had the great pleasure of producing for the Walls group. I produced Friend in Me. I've worked with Alec Walls, Aja Walls, Dare. I worked with all of them, except one of the group members, but I did work with majority of the group members jointly and separately. I've also produced for Janine White, and it was phenomenal. I produced, co-produced Praises Go Up with Jason White, and I've also produced for international superstars like Anale and some other well-known artists as well. So everything that you're getting from me is going to be straight experience from my professional experience instead of a perceived experience, if that makes sense. So I can talk about one person I can talk about off rip is Alec, and this will segue into how to work with artists and how to communicate and how to make your sounds mesh together and what that whole process is like. And every process is different. So I can say for who's in here? Oneness, what's up, man? Good to be here. You're the best producer. Glory to God, I appreciate it. Glory to God, I take no credit for it. So working with an artist is very colorful. It's such a dynamic thing, and every artist is different. But I can say from working with Alec, it definitely taught me how to lay back and let the artist really have full reign over the space of the song with their vocal arrangements. Because if you guys know Alec Walls, he can rap and sing. So there's this hard contrast between when he raps and when he sings, as far as space wise and production wise of how much should I do. Should I put this in there? Should I put that in there? Should I put like synth leads and all this kind of stuff in there? And I found that working with him, it didn't require me to overproduce. from a musical standpoint of having like a whole bunch of stuff going on. Like a lot of the stuff that Alec and I have done has been very simple. It's been basically just drums, 808, some type of sample, and that's really it. And he fills in the rest of the space. So it's very it's not challenging to work with Alec, because I know I can literally send him something as a sketch, and that sketch ends up being the final draft musically. There's some other times where I've gone, behind him and like, oh, let me color this, and let me do this and that. But I'm saying all this to to paint a picture for you guys to see that production isn't all about how much you can do. It's all about what the song needs, and this is a song by song based type thing. So I wouldn't approach production um, in a way where it's a bias based production. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have an open mind. If the song needs more, then you need to be open to more. If it needs less, then you need to be open to less. You need to be flexible. As producers, to be as versatile as possible. We need that. We had somebody come in. Your Loop community tracks are very good. Glory to God. I appreciate it. So you have to be mindful of that. You have to, produce songs in a way that allots a vocalist to be able to write to it and sing to it. If it's too much going on, then they're not gonna have the space to even write or come up with ideas. They may pick something that they may like or something like that, but it hinders the writing experience. So there's a whole lot of ways that songs are written and how they come about in the collaboration. Um, so communication. Um, when I send stuff to Alec, if I send him a beat, um, I know off top what type of beat to send him, and it's not to put him in a box where he only does certain type of beats. He can do whatever the heck he wants. He's versatile, but there's a formula that works between him and I where I know what tones his ear will flock to, even if it's a different style of a song. There's certain tones that he's used to, which points to something that I want to communicate today. You have to know who you're producing for. If you don't know their cup of tea, if you don't know what they like, you're just sending them stuff, they're most likely going to not work with you, because when they hear it, it's going to be this disconnect. It's just going to be a disconnect. So we had another comment coming. What's up, bro? First time here. Yo, welcome, Charlie, man. Welcome to the live. Appreciate you for stopping by, and I hope this information today is helpful or useful in some sort of way. So shout out to you. So you have to know who you're producing for. You have to study. You have to do research. It's just like anything else in life. If there's something that you want to excel in, you have to do your research and have a certain knowledge of what's going on. Last time we talked about knowing the sounds and the tones and the progressions of the genres and studying those common things. Well, when it comes to producing for an artist, you have to take that knowledge and then apply that same knowledge to also knowing what the artist likes. So if you already have a wide vocabulary of progressions and, sounds and sonics, now you can, basically filter through all of that and start to think about a specific artist. If I want to produce for Tasha Cobbs, I'm going to study what she's done and what she's currently doing. So, like, she just dropped her latest record. So, if I'm going to produce for her, I'm going to look at all of the stuff she's done from 2013 up to date. And that's going to give me the knowledge and the foresight, the insight to say, when I do this track, I know she has this sort of sound. I know that she has this sort of wide range. So when I compose a track for her to submit, it's not only going to, I would hope, that it would not only speak to her, but it also shows that, yo, if I put myself in that position, I want her to say, yo, this kid has done his homework. He knows my sound. Like he knows from he I can tell he knows. He gets it. You know what I mean? So you can't do tracks blindly. If you're doing a track for yourself, then let it be for yourself. You know what I mean? Like if you want to make music for yourself, then make that for yourself. But if you want to work with people, there's this selfless side that has to be birthed. So we got some more people in here. Hello, glad to be back. Glad to have you. So there has to be some homework done. You know, same thing with the Walls group. When I did Friend of Me, I did homework. I studied their sound. I studied, what they've done with Kirk Franklin. I studied their older records, and it led to being able to come up one with the progression. This is a progression that they commonly use. Two, the sonics and the tones around the progression, the drums that I use, the drive, the four on the floor, that happy feeling sensation, it matches what they already do, and it also segues into the future. So I've done homework where it's like, okay, that's their sound. They could use a little bit of this. They could use a little bit of this. I'm still gonna make it home, but there's gonna be a different uniqueness about what I bring to the table. That's the other thing for artists as well. If you send them what they're already used to, they sometimes they'll flock to it. I'm not gonna say they're not, but sometimes they'll say, I've already made You Made a Way, Travis Green. I've already done that. So if I make a song that sounds just like that, he's gonna say, I've already done that. I've already, you know what I mean? It's like I've already captured that. So I'm looking to try to do something new. And that's where your creativity has to bridge that gap. So you want to study them, you want to know their sound, you want to know the common progressions, you want to know what tickles their ear, but then you also want to add your own personality and give them room to come up to mesh with you. So it's this marriage that has to happen. And I don't believe in a producer sacrificing their entire sound to produce for an artist, and vice versa. I don't really like the idea of an artist sacrificing their personality to fit with a producer. It shouldn't. That's just my personal take on that. I feel like there should be some sort of marriage where you can tell, hey, there is a different producer doing this stuff. It sounds like the artist and it sounds like something they would do, but there's something different, or vice versa for the producer. Yo, that record that they did with so and so, I know they did it, but the artist brought they brought their personality into it. So we got some first time people here. Shannon Bell, what's up? Welcome. Thank you for coming on in. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So there has to be this marriage of the producer and the artist. Now, this is definitely from a independent standpoint. Um, I was I was blessed to um, build a relationship with the Walls Group outside of management and the traditional route where you submit to, the booking dot whatever or anything like that. Like I was blessed to actually have a relationship. And same thing with Janine White and Jason White. I was blessed to have a relationship where I didn't have to climb the ladder, the politics route, where you have to go through management, then you submit it to something at booking.com, and then they review it, and then they get, I didn't have to go through that. I was blessed to just be able to have a relationship with the artist directly. So this approach definitely sort of shifts things a little bit. If you want to submit something and you're going to go the political route, or you're going to go standard business, send it to the booking something.net, then you are more so at the leisure of the camp. opposed to you built a relationship with the artist directly. And this is going to segue into a whole nother conversation in just a minute. But if you're going to go that route, then by all means, you're going to have to conform to their sound. It is what it is. You know, you're going to have to sacrifice a bit more. You still want to have your uniqueness in there, absolutely, but you're going to be sacrificing a lot more of who you are because you're trying to get in. You're going through this teeter-totter, you know, it's a crazy experience. So if you're going to go that route, submission, then do your homework. You're going to have to study twice as hard because it's like taking a test or something, you know, because they're literally trying to check off the boxes. And there's so many people. That's the other thing I want to say, too. There's so many people involved in a camp when you're trying to climb the ladder the political way. It's going through so many different people, opinions, then it's the artist opinions, and it's their management, especially if they're with a label. Then you got the label's opinion. It's just so many people that song, that track has to go through. So the likelihood of something like that happening is a lot slimmer now than what it used to be back in the day, because beats are a dime a dozen. At the end of the day, songs, dope songs, fire beats are a dime a dozen now. People can drag and drop splice samples, Fruity Loops, you know, and it's no disrespect to anybody, but I'm just saying that it's not a rare commodity anymore. Beats, fire songs are literally like up the hanger somewhere. You can go find it just like that. So you have to keep all of this stuff in mind when you're submitting, if that's the route that you want to take. Samuel, what's up with it? Brazil is in the building. So it's really, really, really important that you do homework and that you establish your sound based on your research and what's going on. So let's talk about, let's segue into artists and the marriage side. We talked about a little bit of we talked about mostly the marriage side. We talked a little bit about conforming your sound to the artist when you're trying to submit, because at the end of the day, they know what they're looking for. They may not know what they know that they're looking for, but they know that they're looking for something. So this is probably the most important part of this live that I'm getting ready to go into, and that's the way, talking about how to make it in 2020 and 2021 in the music industry. How do you make it? How do you go to that next level? How do you do this? And, you know, how do you really see the fruits of your labor? You want to find an artist for producers and artists alike. So artists, you know, find a producer that's up and coming with you. Vice versa, producers find an artist that's up and coming with you. So artists find a producer and the producer find the artist. Hopefully that is someone that you have a relationship with, that you have a really good relationship with, a business relationship. But at this point, I'm talking about nobody's making any money whatsoever. All you got is creativity. Find an artist or find a producer that you can climb up the ladder with. If you climb together, you're more powerful together than separate at the end of the day. You're more useful, you add more value together than separate. And that's a very humbling place to be. You have to be humble. I appreciate that, Samuel. I really appreciate it. You have to be humble and start off, you know, with an artist. Y'all might have to do that first album for free 99. That's what I did. I did my first album for free. First 2 albums for free at that. So, excuse me. So, if you climb the ladder with an artist and you guys work together, SM, what's up with you? If you climb the ladder together, you'll find more opportunities, more creativity, more say so, more of your vibe. You know, it's authentic. It's not the label or anyone telling you, hey, you should do this, you should sound like this, you should do that. You have full freedom to create, and you guys can build something that's unbelievable. If you try to go the route that we spoke about earlier, now you're the small fish in a huge pond where they're filtering through thousands of tracks per minute. It's a lot harder to make it that way than it is to start off with someone that has fire talent to climb the ladder with. You guys literally partner and build your own camp and become your own wave and become your own trend. If you think I'm lying, look at her. She has her own camp, but she was already rocking with DJ Camper. She was already rocking with Swag. It was already in the works. It was already clutch. That's the home base. You know, same thing with Kalani and her team, and same thing with a lot of up and coming artists that are taking over this new sound. It's even with Kid Class and Corinne Hawthorne. You know, like the same thing. It's all about riding that wave together. We have some more comments come in. How did you survive doing it for free? You're preaching today, Larry. Y'all appreciate it. So Charlie, I survived by playing in church. I was doing lessons. And what else was I doing? I was playing in church. I was doing lessons. I was mixing for people. I just opened up my business to be able to mix for people. And there was one more thing that I was doing too. I can't think of it at the time. But gigging. I was still gigging a lot back then. So I wasn't ready to make that hard cutoff just yet. I was still taking gigs. I was still doing musicals and stuff like that. And, that's how I was able to do, those records for free. But those records had to be done because people needed to hear me in a new way. People needed to hear me other than church. Like, no one knew that I could create anything like that. People saw like my YouTube videos, the shout videos and stuff, but that's church stuff. That's what we play in church. So it's creative, but it's not songwriting, if that makes sense. So I had to do those 2 albums for free for people to hear, oh, wait, oh, you're a producer. You don't just play. Oh, you can write. Interesting. So it was just this hard cutoff that I had to do. Once I did those 2 records for free, and then I started getting calls for production, that's when I had the hard cutoff, and I'm like, I'm not playing anywhere else. I'm not doing any more outside gigs unless it's something very lucrative. Or, which perfectly segues into what we're talking about, it became a situation where I started to create my own opportunities, or the artist and I started to create our own opportunities. When I did those records for free, the first thing both artists did, they had CD releases. So now I'm not just playing in a church for a choir or for a guest artist that I need to learn their music. Now I'm back in church, or I'm doing this gig at a venue, but we're playing our music. There's so much power in that. It's so much. It's just, oh my gosh. It was different. And I had to literally educate myself. I had to educate my family, like, hey, I'm not taking random gigs anymore. These gigs are artists that I've produced. This is my original music that we are performing at venues now. It's different. It just hits different. This is your composition. This is something that God gave you. The work of your hands is providing an opportunity that did not exist unless you linked up with an artist, and you ride that wave together. Then you perform, you do what you do. Then now traction in the pool is starting to come in. Hey, when's the next record coming out? Or, hey, let's spin this on this station, or let's have an interview. Let's talk about, where did this album come from? What is this? And you create this whole new reality for yourself by riding with an artist. You guys are literally climbing the ladder together. You have a performer, then you have the producer, and both of you guys are performing simultaneously. You're blending and meshing your sounds. One, it just creates a very stable environment where no person can say, well, because of me, you're doing this, or because of me, you're doing this. No, 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 no. It's a together thing. If the unit didn't come together, neither one of you would be doing what you're doing, if that makes sense. So it's a very, like I said, it's a humbling place for both parties. Then when you blow up together, you blow up together as a unit. You have your Missy Elliott and Timberland. You have your Dark Child and Brandy. You have your Her and Camper. You have Ella May and DJ Mustard, even though DJ Mustard was a bit more established before Ella May. But even the reality of the situation is DJ Mustard gets more, he gets notarized more, for an artist that blows up, opposed to, DJ Mustard is just sitting on DJ Mustard's platform. So there's still a sowing and reaping type deal. There's still like this even playing field where it's like, yeah, you may have been, you may have been popping, but until you work with this particular artist sets you over the map, or working with this artist on top of you already having your following just made it that much more greater. You know what I mean? So you have to keep all of this stuff in mind when you're working with artists, and you have to create your own vibe, your own. It's such a fun experience, to be honest with you. Like the stuff that Alec and I did, we literally were just having fun. We did 2 EPs for fun. Like neither one of us, like the cases is different now because the records is out, but we did them for fun. We had a ton of fun. Exactly. So it was just fun. You have to do this thing for the right reasons, and for the main intention has to be you both love what you do. You both love music. You both love to create. That has to be the foundation, period. Regardless of whatever else happens in life, I'm going to create music. That has to be the baseline. Because if it's not, then if something doesn't pop off or something doesn't happen, there's this hidden expectation that nobody knew about except you. You expecting a meal ticket, and somebody else was like, I was just vibing. So having fun. If you have fun while doing it, those are the best records, I promise you. When you're having fun and it's authentic, those are some of the best records you will ever make. It's going to be the most creative records you will ever make, because there's no expectation. There's no, well, they did this hit record, so I wonder what they're going to do this time. It's like, you don't have any of that. It's just raw creativity, raw emotions, having fun. And if you lose that, then it all becomes business. And that's why you have certain records sounding the way they do today. While the listener is like, did y'all enjoy this? Because we don't. Like, straight up. Do y'all enjoy this? Like, were y'all in the studio like, whoa, yo, if you don't have this experience, this right here, yo, ain't nobody else gonna feel it. Period. They're not gonna feel it if you don't feel it. So we got some more questions. Before you released anything, did you have it copyrighted, belonging to a music society? The answer to that is yes, and a little bit of no. Yes, because when I started doing my own original music, before Yaahn Hunter Jr., before the process, before all of that, like I'm talking about like when I was 15, 14 years old, my mom was looking out for me, and she saw where this was going like a long time ago when I got a hold of my first recording piece of gear, which was a D20. She was like, we need to copyright this stuff. So I started putting my stuff on CDs, and my mom would actually ship the CD to the US.gov, and they would actually stamp it and then mail us a copy back with the stamp. So yeah, so my music has been copywritten at a very early age. But when I started working with artists, that's when things changed. At first, it wasn't, but then, we got hip to the music biz where it's like, okay, we need publishing, and I have my own publishing with BMI and this and that, and then I encourage my artists to do the same thing. Hey, do you have a performance rights organization that you affiliate with? Blah 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 blah. They ended up going to ASCAP BMI, so we're all protected now. We're all good now. But at first, with collaborating, no. My first album that I produced, no, it was not. It was all fun. My main goal at that time on my first album was literally to be heard. That was it. I wanted to be heard outside of, like I wanted to be heard outside of that. And um, so it was like any means necessary. I didn't get paid for it. Even if I didn't make any money after the fact, there had to be a hard cutoff period for gigging and doing all that stuff to now being recognized as a producer. So it was a hard transition. It was a hard transition. So when you create together, you have the world pretty much at your fingertips, and then you can create the reality that you want to create. When the money starts coming in, you do your record with an artist. The money starts coming in. Um, this is where things start to get. It can get weird for some. So let me answer your question real quick. When you collaborated, how did you divide up the points? Well, we're about to get into this right now. So I want to start this off by saying there is a standard, but based on that standard, everything is negotiable. If that makes sense. So the old school standard is if an artist was signed to a label, the artist would get 16%. The producer, and this is from net sales, by the way, net sales, they would get 16%. Then the producers will get 2 to 5% of the artist's 16% on a label. Net sales. We're not talking about publishing or anything like that yet. We're just talking about royalties, standard sale royalties. Okay, that was the standard. Then we started having these hybrid people come along the way. Oh, I sing and write. Oh, I produce and I'm a musician. I compose too, right? So you have this birth of this cluttered world. Based on the copyright, if you have a songwriter, they are entitled to a mechanical royalty of 9.10 cents. That's a standard. That's just a standard. Okay, we're just talking standard. Standard. 9.10 cents based on the copyright. Then now we got to talk about publishing now, because they composed and they wrote, and the artist, the performer wrote something. Well, this is where standards are no longer applicable. You have to divvy it up based on character, the character of the team, what's in your heart. What are you trying to get out of this? See, now we're talking about something completely different. We're in the same space, but we're talking about what's in your heart. Are you looking for a meal ticket? Are you greedy? Are you too humble where you won't even get what you deserve? So for my situation, it was divided in a way that we felt was fair, unanimously. So some artists, they're like, yo, I'm going to split the whole thing with you, bro. 50-50. 50% publishing, 50% sales, 50% this, 50% that. That was The artist suggested that. That that was on their heart to present to me. So I said, well, for those situations, I wasn't getting paid like that. I wasn't. So it made sense to go 50-50 on everything. If, or better yet, for my earlier stuff when I wasn't getting paid at all, some artists felt like it was the best gesture they could ever have. So it was really, um, just a experience by artist experience. Like everybody is not like that. So I've had some situations where I walked away with 25%. You know, we split it up evenly, or 20%, 25 or 20%, because we decided let's all have equal pardons in this. And it felt fair because each person contributed to the song like equally. Like the weight was distributed equally. We all were feeding off each other from start to finish. One person didn't come in and say, hey, you should say, yeah, yeah, right here. And then that's it. And then we go to the splits and they like, I want 60%. For saying, yeah, yeah, not even singing it. You know, so it's interesting. It's all about what's in the heart of a person. Because if your heart is team based, if someone says, let's split it evenly amongst all people, if your heart is for the team, you're going to be like, cool, bet. It's all good. But if you want a meal ticket, you're going to be like, nah, son, I'm going to stay with that 60% and I ain't moving. Okay, cool. Well, to each his own. So I hope that I'm answering your question. It's this type of stuff is not a set-based answer because I can't say off rip, this is what I want for every situation. I can't say that because I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how many writers are going to be involved. I don't know how many producers are going to be involved. You know, you don't know. It depends. If I'm in a situation where, okay, let's go back to the Travis Green or Tasha Cobbs example. My publishing on that is going to look a lot smaller than it would be for working with an up and coming artist and we are riding the wave together. If that makes sense. By the time it gets to Tasha Cobbs, by the time it gets to Travis, I already know off rip, at least I'm going to have to split that publishing with at least 3 to 4 to 5 people because they're such and such. So that's just how it is. That's just the reality. That's just the real world. In some cases, you may not see publishing at all. And it's up to you to decide, do you want to be bought out? Do you want to upfront advance to be paid off? They just get the track from you and that's it. You're done. I mean, these are real questions that you have to ask. And sometimes you got to take those payouts. I'm going to be real with y'all. You have to, sometimes you got to take those payouts. If you got bills, if you got responsibilities, if you know you have certain goals, if you want to be debt free, if you want to do this, if you want to do that, and they're saying, hey, we'll pay you $10,000 for the song. What's your reality look like? What's your situation looking like? You know, let's be real. So for the payout might be that payout might be the biggest break of your life and you won't even know it because sometimes songs may not do as well as people project. It is what it is. That's the real world. And when it comes down to splits and you looking in your BMI account and you see you only made $10 for a whole quarter versus $10,000, you know, you have to, I would say pray about it, let God lead you with it, especially if it's a Christian. I mean, even if it's secular, whatever. Just ask God to lead you with it, and it has to be a situation that you feel comfortable with. And most importantly, OMG, I can't talk anymore without saying you need an attorney. If you want to level the playing field with the big boys, with Tasha, and not to say that they're bad people or anything like that. I don't want to paint that picture. I'm just saying you're an up and coming producer trying to land a placement with an established artist. That's just the playing field that we're talking about. You need an attorney because the attorney is going to fight for you and your best interest most of the time. If you have an attorney that you trust and they specialize in music business, then they're going to make sure that you get what's due to you, because they know when you play with big dogs, whether it's secular or Christian, they're still big dogs. And it's a Shark Tank. It's this whole thing is Shark Tank. Okay. So now that we got the creative stuff out the way, we've talked about the creativity, the genre, the format, the studying the artist, the vibe, the sound, the placement, your creativity. We talked about all that. Last thing I want to talk about, which is a perfect segue, is the music business. So we already are in it, but so it's Shark Tank. It's a Shark Tank perspective. If you're not familiar with Shark Tank, check it out. Just check it out and see how these sharks want to go into business. See how these sharks want to go into business with these entrepreneurs and their products, and they can see what they can do to make that investment in labels and stuff like that. Labels have done people dirty. We're not going to say that they have not. They have. Labels have done artists dirty, and producers and all creatives alike at some point. They have. We can admit that. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. So I'm going to paint a picture for you guys, and I hope that this is relevant. I hope that it is. I'm going to use myself as an example. I'm a producer, songwriter, and artist, right? And I'm blessed to have a sponsorship with DistroKid. And some other endorsements are on the way. I can't disclose them yet. So if an artist comes to me with only talent, they don't have any hits behind them, they don't have any money behind them, they don't even have a following behind them. Let's really be real with the situation. I'm the label and the artist is, the other end of the coin. They don't have they don't have nothing. The only thing they have is talent to perform. They don't even write. Okay. Now I have a platform, YouTube, distro, other endorsements, yada, yada, yada. And I can do artwork and all this stuff myself. The situation is this: I have more value to offer than the artist. Does that make sense? So if a nobody wants to sign, I don't want to use that word, and forgive me. Because you can tell my passion behind this, because it's two sides to the coin. If an artist that's trying to get a start wants to go to a major label, the only thing they have is a voice to offer. It's just their voice and their likeness. They can perform. Unknown, perfect. I love it. So if that's the case, right, the label has more value to offer than the artist. So I'm going to use myself as an example because this really helps me to be sensitive. If I want to sign an artist to Music production, an unknown new artist, let's say that, perfect, an unknown new artist, they want to come to Music Productions. The only thing they have is talent. They can't write, they can't vocal produce, they just have a phenomenal voice. I have more value to offer them than they do for me. That makes sense. Based on business, not talent, business. You know, I've been blessed to be able to move a certain amount of units to being sold. So I can say that I know what it's like to make money. And I say this in a humble way. We're just talking business. The likelihood of me splitting things with them is going to be more so coming from my discretion. I hope this really makes sense. Like, I'm gonna paint an even more transparent picture. If another producer comes to me and wants to work with me, and I look on their Instagram and they only have 200 followers, right? They only make beats. Let's say that. They just make beats. You have to be honest and say, where's the value exchange? Because it's one-sided right now. So that means, okay, if I'm going to take on that artist, if I'm going to take on that producer, you're going to have to sign under me, because you're going to be using my platform, my resources. It's beyond just me doing a record for you, just getting you a project. It's more than that. It's deeper than that. So I have to not only produce it, not only do the artwork, not only do the marketing and the promotion and all this stuff, and register the songs. I have to do all of this stuff, right? You're going to have to sign under me. And I'm going to keep majority of the investment, because the money is only coming from me. So for you performing, this is the mindset of the labels now. So I'm not talking just as me and how I would do things. This is the mindset of the labels. We're talking about labels, and I'm just using myself as an example. I'm going to pay you out of my heart 16%. You'll get 16% of the sales that came from my platform. I hope this makes sense. This is the label standpoint. I'm going to give you 16% of sales that we are generating. Now, you're performing and your voice is a staple voice, and it's going to change the trajectory of R&B music of all time. We make that investment. You know what I'm saying? So, but with that said, I'm the one putting up all the money. Everything. All you have to do is perform. I'm putting up everything. Studio time, meetings, connecting you with managers, collaborating on tour. Like, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. I can only imagine what a label goes through. So this is the reality. This is the reality. This is the seriousness of the situation. You are investing in them, so do you need to recoup your investment? That's business. That's business. We're saying we're going on a whim to sign you for $50,000. Let's just use that, or let's $100,000, right? That $100,000 is an advance, and a lot of people don't get this. That's technically not your money. It's not. It's an advance, which means that's an advance against your royalties. That's an advance against sales. That's an advance against everything. So until I recoup back $50 to $100,000, I can't pay you a dime. We've already invested. We've already paid you off to come on. We broke you off to sign. Now we got to invest more money, right? So you're talking about, you know, it's a lot of money. It's a lot of money on the table. It's a lot of money. So I can put myself in that position by saying, okay, well, I have distribution, have some sponsors and stuff like that. So I have something to offer. So I need to make sure that the company is running. I need to make sure that my employees are taken care of. I need to make sure that the artist is taken care of as well. I mean, make sure, you know, but it's a lot that goes into it. It's not just, I just wanted to paint that picture. I know it was a long story, but I wanted to debunk the trajectory of labels burn people, don't need them. That's not business. That's not business. That's why I became a producer, and that's why I became an entrepreneur, and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing right now, because I saw where it was headed. And I looked at the situation and I'm like, you know what? There's got to be better. There's better to music than just labels burn people and artists burn the producers and the producers burn the artists by ghosting. There's got to be more. There's got to be more to the story than just those three things. And music has a lot more to offer than that. The music business has a lot more to offer than just that. So you have to really open up your eyes to options, other ways. It's like these loop arounds. It's like these other avenues that are available. So one avenue that's available and I'll wrap up with this. One avenue that's available is sync licensing. Get your music placed on television, movies. Sync licensing is a dope alternative. Sync licensing is going to treat you statistically better than an artist would. Statistically, not saying that artists are bad and that you shouldn't get an artist placement. But you're more likely to see more fruits of your labor in a faster turnaround with sync licensing than just trying to land a placement. A placement can only, sometimes it could just be just placement. And then sometimes there's some placements where it's like, bro, that song paid for this house. That song paid for everything you see in this room. You know, this joint landed with such and such, and them royalty checks is amazing. If that's your route and that's the lane that God has you in, and that's how He wants to use you, and that's what works for you, by all means, keep that stuff going, because if that's the way you're taking care of your family, I'm 100% behind it. Period. But there's a lot of people out there that don't have that story. There's like, for every one person that gets that major break, there's like 1,000 people that don't have that same break. So what about them? What happens to them? You know, how does your heart go out to them, or what is available to them? And that's where you have to be creative, and you have to look at these other avenues of income from music production. So sync licensing is another option. And there's some secret tricks to the trade of how to make that happen. But that's at your disposal. Sync licensing. And at the end of the day, that's what you want with an artist anyway. You want the artist that you work with to land some type of sync licensing deal where, you know, sync licensing stuff can literally, I mean, they'll pay anywhere from 50,000 to 5 million for a sync license. It depends on how many times they want to use it, what platform, what commercial, what movie. It's big money, and you get royalties for it. So that's another avenue. Another avenue for generating income is to do your own stuff. Boss gets $1, I get a dime. That's why I'm popping. I'm watching another company time. So, you know, hey, it is what it is. So the next avenue is to do your own music. So producers are not limited to just placement. We are able to release our own mixtapes, our own beat tapes, whether you want to rap or sing or not. Even if you just drop the beat on iTunes, that is your song. You own 100% of that. So just like the artists say, hey, beats are a dime a dozen. I can get them wherever I want. Don't really need a producer. Producers can have the same outlook, but not from a negative standpoint. Meaning, you can release your own instrumentals and own 100% of your publishing for your instrumental. It goes down as a song either way. Just because it doesn't have vocals on it, don't mean it ain't a song. I mean, what? How do you account for all these famous jazz tunes? You know what I mean? Not in Indonesia and all. Well, I mean, that has lyrics to it, stuff like that. But there's other famous jazz tunes that don't have any lyrics to it. Shout out to my man Justin. He's on here. Justin Cohen. Glad to have you on here, family. You can publish your own instrumentals and drop them. And I literally preach this all the time. Nobody's going to treat you better than you are if you let yourself. So if you release your own music and push it yourself, just your instrumentals, I don't care if it doesn't matter. People like good music at the end of the day. So release your own stuff. You sign up with DistroKid. You could use my promo code, get 7% off your first year. Shameless plug. Shout out to DistroKid. You know what I mean? Like you can drop your own music and get 100% of the sales, 100% of the publishing yourself. Now you're adding value to not only yourself, but you're adding value to when it comes time to work with an artist, because now you can say, hey, I've already generated, 1,000 units in a week. Don't believe it? Here's the reports. This is by myself. So you have more of a bargaining strategy when it comes down to working with a bigger artist, where it's like they may not know who you are, but based on your numbers and based on your own statistics, you become more valuable to an artist. So, I missed some comments. Let me come back. Let me see. Charlie Cooper, no problem. No problem at all. The next class is hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully. I need to really schedule it out though. How do you publish your track to commercial standards? It's a very good question. All you have to do to publish your track is, one, you need to be signed up with a performance rights organization. ASCAP, BMI, CSAC, all that good stuff. You need to sign up with them first, make an account, then register your song on their platform. Then they will acknowledge it and give you a confirmation in your email that it is indeed published. Then you will be able to collect streaming royalties. Some, not all, some streaming royalties, some radio airplay from syndicated stations, stuff like that. Some, not all. There's other agencies that do that. But you have all these different platforms like Sound Exchange and Nielsen SoundScan and all these other stuff that track your music. That's a whole nother video in itself. This is like more of a music business panel now. So register and affiliate with performance rights organizations. You only need one as far as like BMI or CSAC. Find which one that you feel works best for you and then sign up immediately and then register your song. That's the foundation. If you want to go to the extra step, go to us.gov and copyright the instrumental. Copyright it. You can do that too. You have that option. Those are the main two things though: performance rights and copyright. Let's see, what else do we have? Why do you recommend? Who do you recommend for mixing, mastering? Um, I can throw myself out there. I mix and master myself. If you want to go through me, you can hit me up at yhuntermusic@gmail.com and we can talk. Or I really like my dude Tyler Scott. He's really dope. He's in LA. I went to school with him. Tyler Scott is amazing. If you want to go to the big guys like Rother Mickey, he mixes. He's done a ton of mixes, but he's done some of what's the song? Focus. He mixed that. He mixed majority of Her's album is mixed by Rother Mickey. He's ridiculous for secular stuff and gospel. I wouldn't put it past him. And there's some other dope mixing engineers that I know. Then there's John Yash for gospel and John Blaz for gospel. They're fire for that. So yeah, those are like my top go-to recommendations. What's the name of the company you mentioned? DistroKid. DistroKid is, so DistroKid will distribute your music to Apple Music, Spotify, all the other online digital platforms. They will distribute it for you, but you pay annually for the service. Excuse me. And then you also have TuneCore. TuneCore is a release by release payment situation. So it's free to sign up with TuneCore, but you will have to pay for every release separately. And they have options like you can do like $75 for 5 years, you can do $29.99 for 1 year, but you have to renew each release. DistroKid kind of has an edge. And this is not paid, by the way. What I'm about to say about distro is not paid. This is just my personal opinion. DistroKid does have an edge over TuneCore because you can upload an unlimited amount of releases throughout the year for a set annual fee. TuneCore, you have to renew each release that you put out. That makes sense. I already have my own TuneCore account and published my own music on there before, so would that be good? If that's what you're already using, stick with it. If it's a system that already works, I always preach that. If you have a system that works and you have other things that are codependent on that system, then don't break that system because it's already working. So TuneCore is fire though. I use TuneCore to do do my first couple of records. So they treated me right. I ain't got no issues with TuneCore. I just like that DistroKid offered me something a little bit better. So I'm down with that. So and then also DistroKid has splits, so you can split like if you need to pay somebody mechanical royalties, that 9.10 cents I was telling you about, you can round it off at 10%. You can actually dimmy up that 10% automatically. So what happens is let's say you do a song with me, I'm the artist and you're the songwriter. I'm independent. I'm gonna pay you 10%, right? I can literally say in DistroKid, hey, pay such and such 10% of this song in perpetuity. You're automatically gonna get 10% of all of my sales automatically. I don't have to touch it anymore. I don't have to do anything. It's already split. This is not publishing. This is net sales. So I wanted to reiterate that. Some people don't really know the difference between the splits on DistroKid and publishing. DistroKid splits are not publishing. DistroKid splits are net sales. Okay, it's not publishing, it's net sales. I wanted to make that clarification. So that's the situation with that. We got another question. How did you get the musical concepts in your head to a track? I struggle with this a lot. I think it has to do with inspiration and the vocabulary. No problem at all. The vocabulary and inspiration, those are two things. if you have a very broad vocabulary, it opens you up to create. It may not be able to be the same creativity to do the same style track all the time, but at least you can create something. So if your vocabulary is limited to a certain set thing, then yeah, then I get that. That's where inspiration has to become key. Inspiration for me comes from going to concerts, watching concerts, or watching very like things that inspire. So after watching a ton of Zildjian live sessions from 2019 and Vic Firth sessions with Sput and all them, I am inspired to record, to play, to write. After listening to that stuff and watching my homies go off, I'm legit inspired. I can literally take one segment, like as a producer, I could take one segment of each of those songs and produce a whole beat out of it just because it's just so inspirational. So I would recommend, um, I know with the situation we can't go out right now like we want to and function at concerts, but virtual concerts, or just YouTube, watch some old school concerts, and I guarantee you, like that would it makes a difference for me. And then also I watch a lot of movies and movies that are like emotional based that and listening to the soundtracks of certain movies definitely inspire me as well because seeing those scenes and seeing lights and pictures and stuff, it just it I guess it plays into like what I'm doing right now with doing YouTube and doing my own videos. I'm looking to like this stuff for inspiration. I can see like, ooh, having a certain light in a mood evokes a certain emotion. So um, I hope that helps is vocabulary. And what I mean by vocabulary, I mean like having stock in country music, having stock in R&B, trap, gospel, like all these different genres that you can pull from to create something. And hopefully something within those realms will help you to come up with something pretty creative. It definitely does. That's the situation for me. Um, does that? Dan, do you play at your local church? I no longer play in church. Um, at least not physically, like on staff and or anything like that. My stems are an extension of me. So on Loop Community, people purchase my stems to use for their services. So I'm there. Um, I'm just not physically on staff um, or virtually on staff at a particular church. I resigned from the last church I was at, and I'm focusing on my brand and my business. So that's pretty much my current state right now. So I think I've answered all your questions. And even with that, like even with the transition to resigning from playing in church, like that's a whole 5 hour video in itself. Um, that's a mouthful just to talk about that whole experience and why I resigned and all that stuff. So, but I knew that there was another crossroads that I came up to, and it was that, and one had to go. So I wasn't gonna throw away my business. So right on, we'll do it. Charlie, my name is Yaahn. So I've been yawning throughout this segment. I might even have to. Yep. Excuse me. So, yeah, my name is Yaahn. So, no, you're not being rude at all. Dan, no problem. No problem. In short, with the church experience, I have to do a separate video. But from what I can say in a short amount of time, was that oh, I see what you're saying. Okay, I'm gonna answer that. Basically, in short, I came to a crossroads. I had a lot of responsibilities at the last church I was playing at, and my business required a lot more from me than what I've ever given it in my life. There was just this crossroads where business for me was getting so crazy where um, I started to notice um, I couldn't remember everything like I used to. I couldn't I couldn't learn songs the way I used to as fast as I would. There is because you just got so much in the back of your mind. And like for me, I had like, okay, so this week I got to produce this, I got to do this for Loop Community, I got to mix this record for a client, then I got to do this, then I need to master this for so and so. Then somebody else called me to play keys on this and that. And then meanwhile, I'm trying to run stems for my church. I'm trying to get the Ableton sessions. I'm trying to do this. I'm trying to learn music at a very fast rate, learning like at least 4 songs a week. So like there's just this crossroads, and I'm like, I can't do both. I can't do just this. Like I can't do both of these at the same time. I have to do just one thing. And I came to that crossroads where it's like playing in church or running your own business. Yeah, I decided to run my own business, but that's in short. That's the short story. There's like 5 hours long of information and content that's in between that, but that's what it came up to. So, uh, let's go. Let's see. Let's go. Let's talk about stems. Let's talk about stems real quick. What is your approach to producing a stem? My approach to producing a stem is at first it was I want to sound just like the record. That was the first intention, right? So starting there is a great starting point because at least you have the discipline to be able to recreate something. And I talked about this in my other live. Unfortunately, that live is private, but I'm thinking about leaving this one up for public, just out of the kindness of my heart. So my approach with producing stems now is to sound like Yaahn Hunter Jr. Not in an arrogant way, but more in a humble way where it's like, I've learned the value of my sound. I've learned how my sound came and how I'm cultivating it. So when I do stems now, I approach it where it's like it's the Yaahn Hunter Jr. vibe, which means you're gonna have some type of trap elements in there or commercial elements in there, commercial pop, trap, and R&B, whatever. You're gonna have that element in there. I want it to sound youthful. I want my stuff to sound more futuristic, for lack of a better term, and I know that's cliche and I hate it too, but to sound ahead. And I'm not thinking to sound, okay, I need to sound futuristic, I need to sound this way, I need to sound, it's like, no, it's in me. When I hear a song, since I'm a drummer, I always find a backbeat to any kind of song. I'll just find myself with a backbeat. It's like every song don't need a backbeat, y'all. Like I have to literally tell myself not to do it at this point, but that's my approach. Like anytime I get something that I want to produce, it's just like I gotta have some sort of, I don't know, it's just gotta have a movement. And that movement comes from your spirit and what you feel and what's inside you. So I bring myself into the picture now. So I don't expect people to get the original record from when they get stems from me. I want it to be more like a remix and something that can be useful, add value to someone's ministry. So I hope that helps. That's my approach logically. The technical side is just build everything up to make sure that it's commercial sounding, so it has like all the moving parts where it sounds full and, you know, as if it would be done for a record for someone to put on iTunes. So that's my mindset with that. Loop Community, I've used your stems. They are great. Man, I appreciate it. Glory to God. I appreciate it. Any advice for producers that's trying to determine what to charge for an artist, not trying to hit anyone over the head, but not trying to sell myself short as well? I used to say, base it off your skill and what is this, you know, and by the way, that's still the standard skill, your skill set, period. It's still a standard skill set, how the quality of the track that you do, or the quality of what you offer, hands down, base it off that, period. hands down. That's your foundation. Outside of that, if you generate sales, you have a real number to base that on. You know what I mean? Like if you sell your beats for $29.99 on BeatStars, Jim, um, and you see how many sales you get on that beat, you now have a real authentic number to charge. Okay, so one of my beats, let's say, for example, I make a beat, it's a Beyonce type beat. That beat goes viral and it sells up to, I don't know, 100 units, right? You made like 2,000 on that track. It is what it is. You charge 2,000 because that's the value of that beat. That means you're evaluated at $2,000 a track, bare minimum. So that's my take on that. These are some really fire questions. I hope my microphone don't go out. My mic runs on battery, so if it gives out, I'll just have to change them. How do I begin to brand myself? I can tell you my experience in short. I started to brand myself when I started to do my own thing. It's bigger than just a producer tag. You know, it's bigger than that's Hunter. It's like that's Hunter on a tag is literally, I want that to have the same effect as when you see the Apple logo. You know what follow the Nike emblem. When you see that Nike logo, you know what's behind it. Michael Jordan, big people, big athletes, like all this stuff. The brands are showing us what to do and how to do it in plain sight. It's hidden in plain sight. So if you see a company that you like and you see how they brand themselves, pay attention to what they're doing to stay who they are, how they treat you as a customer, discounts in your email, giveaways, free trials, splurge sales. You know what I mean? Like you emulate what your favorite business is doing and you apply it to what you're doing. So for me, I look at Apple, YouTube, Spotify. They all offer free trials. So I do a lot of giveaways. I understand the concept of giving. So brand yourself based on doing your own thing. Do not brand yourself on someone else's platform. Brand yourself on your own platform. Hope that helps. Shannon, what's your approach to getting your music tracks and songs to be considered by an established artist? Your songs can sound as good as Jesus himself making it. Real talk. Like it's that serious. They can sound that good and still not get placed because of two things: relationship and relationships leading up to the relationship. The relationship is with the artist. The relationships are the people who are connected to the artist. So it's a relationship thing. I've been in situations where I'm like, I've seen producers where I'm like, your track should be on these big platforms, but because they haven't established the right relationship yet, is the only reason why. It's not a talent thing. It's just that they need to get a relationship with the right person who's connected to that artist, or better yet, the artist just reaches out to them directly. I don't know if you guys know this, but artists talk to people in the DMs. They do. I'm not saying, I don't want to get ahead of myself and say start DMing artists and check out my stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that if it comes a time where you tag an artist in one of your beats and they hit you up because you already got the fire. You already got fire. Having beats and that's out of the equation already. That's a standard. You already got the fire. That's a standard. So you already being established in your own standard, in your own thing, your own brand. You know what I'm saying? Like that's attractive to artists. So these placements will end up generating from your platform. You know what I mean? It's like every beat maker should not just be a beat maker anymore. You need to be able to pick up a camera. You need to be able to use your iPhone. You need to be able to communicate in a way where people can understand what you're saying. Not to diss anybody, by the way. I'm just saying, like, this is what attracts artists. Being able to work with cameras, being able to shoot your own videos, being able to generate your own sales, being able to be your own force to be reckoned with by your own brand, then it's going to be a business merger than it is a collaboration. It's going to be a collaboration, but a business merger collaboration, not based on this person has this fire beat and we're going to get that beat from them and we'll never have to deal with them again. You know, you want to make yourself valuable to other companies. So every producer needs to be on YouTube. Every producer needs to have their own merch. Every producer needs to have their own platform, their own website. Let's see, would I be able to send you a Logic session and for you to mix and master? I would prefer to send for you to send just the WAV files because I might mix it in Pro Tools. Pro Tools is my go-to place for mixing. So it would be better if you sent just the audio files. That would be great. That would help a lot and help me help you have the best experience that you can have with the content that you have for me to mix. So that's that. But yeah, I think that wraps it up for today, guys. I was on here way longer than what I intended. I was just planning to talk, just follow up with, let's talk production with trying to get your beats to an artist and establish it. But this was really dope. I'm really feeding off you guys. This has really been great. So my closing words for the benediction is just picking off what I said earlier. Every producer needs their own platform. Every producer needs to establish their own brand by modeling what they would love to see from their own favorite brands and what they would do and giving people what you didn't have and giving people an experience that you did not have. You learned from being burned. You learned from, you know, artists and or other businesses and companies, you know, being Hollywood. So you know what to do differently. And I'm literally living this out. I've been burned. I've been talked about. I've been bashed on Twitter. I've seen that. I've been through that. I've seen all. I've seen almost as like the worst that it can get. I've been there. So I'm learning to give everyone else the experience that I didn't have. So my brand is based on that principle, giving and just that, and every producer needs that. We have to raise our value as creators, not to just being locked in making beats, but being able to do other things outside of making beats. And the beats become, or the songwriting becomes a cinch. You know, for me to come in here to do a song, we can get a song done. We can get it done. But is the business taken care of? Is the marketing taken care of? Is the bigger picture? Is this a equal value exchange? You know what I mean? So make yourselves more valuable. Every producer needs to be on YouTube. Every musician needs to be monetized on YouTube in 2020. I don't care who you are. You have to be monetized on YouTube in 2020, period. For more reasons than what you think, not just for views and likes and clout, but for YouTube's sake. YouTube is shifting and changing, and that's a whole nother conversation. So every musician, producer alike needs to, artist alike, needs to be on YouTube and monetize your channel. Go through the standards, get those authentic views, authentic likes, organic followings. Do it organically. Climb the ladder. It'll humble you. That experience will take you to that next level, and it'll open up your mind to a lot more stuff. So let's make ourselves valuable in 2020 and 2021 on out. Thank you guys so much for this time. This has really been great. I sincerely love and appreciate every one of you guys. I appreciate your support, those who have patronized the website, yhuntermusic.com. If you bought anything, even if you downloaded some free sounds, thank you. I appreciate it out of the sincerity of my heart. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys. You guys about to have me in tears now, getting emotional. Let me get off here before I start boo-hooing. So I'll catch you guys on the next one. And let me answer this last question. James Armstrong, how do I get a commercial sound in my productions tracks? Tell you what, as I wrap this up, if you sign up on if you join my channel for $9.99 a month, I promise you, from the first 2 videos, you'll be sounded commercial. I'm willing to bet that. You can join my channel for $9.99 a month, and join as an unlimited member. I have private videos and private tutorials on how to do just what you're asking. If you join, I promise you, the information that you're gonna learn, after the second video, you'll sound commercial. I promise you that. So thank you guys for this time. Appreciate you. Love you. And we'll holler back. Peace.